If you're not doing the hard work to determine what you believe and why, oh my gosh, you're not a leader. You're not a strong leader. You're just following other people, and you don't even know you're doing it. And I think right now, if you look at any strong leader of any company, any political leader that you admire that's strong, they know what they believe, they know why, and most people hate them because it's not what everyone thinks. And if you know what you believe, you're not going to agree with everybody, and you're going to be okay stating why.
How has your leadership style changed with the evolving work environment?
So I haven't changed. I am who I am. I know who I am, and I try to be that person. Whether I'm talking to you on Zoom, whether I'm doing a demo for a client, whether I'm diffusing a difficult situation with someone who's upset, whether I'm upset, and I have not changed who I am because I'm remote. And I started working from home when COVID hit, and I think the level and frequency of communication is extremely important if you're not in an office seeing people, and it's your responsibility. And I say that talking to me, myself as well. It's your responsibility to make the effort, because if you don't, then time and that gap will start to deepen and trust is lost. And then when something happens, it's like, it's not easy to repair because you haven't been getting the positive touches in like you would normally if you're in an office face to face. And here's the one thing I learned early on as a leader that I think people will benefit from hearing. The positive to negative ratios that as a leader that you need to send to people that you're working with, even if you're not in a leadership role, they say is 5, 6 to 1, meaning 5, 6 good positive touches to 1 hard negative piece of advice, coaching, constructive criticism, feedback that you're going to give someone. Because if you're only going to reach out to someone when there's a problem or you have to correct them on something, and that's the only time they hear from you, good luck. You'll be dealing with sabotage before you know it, especially if they're working from home, because no one wants to just hear from you when you got bad news. And so it's up to you as a leader, especially the leader has to take responsibility to catch people doing good things and then communicate that in a genuine way with specific feedback that you can give someone to esteem them. They say, I think the Gallup poll says that the average person who is not praised within a 7-day period, will start to burn out, hate their job, not like where they work. And that to me is incredible because I had almost 100 employees, and to try to praise people that much and to make sure your team leaders are doing that. But I think you can only do what you do, which is model the way, lead by example. If you have 7 people on your leadership team and you have them as direct reports, then you need to go out of your way to find positive touches with them. If that's having fun with them, if that's calling just to check in, and if that is giving them some good feedback, because, as a leader, you have to inspect what you expect. So if it's numbers, and I love that, inspect what you expect. So if you've got people that report to you and you have distance between you because they're working remote, then it's up to you to figure out what they're doing and to make sure that you don't get caught 2 months from now going, I haven't talked to you. And then all of a sudden you don't like what you see and then you fly off the handle. Well, hey, leader, that's on you. Set the tone, put the expectations in writing, tell your direct reports at the end of each week, highlight your top 3 big wins, your 3 things you're working on, and the 3 things that you're struggling with, and send them to me in writing. You have an obligation as a leader to step up. And I think right now the world lacks leadership. So if you're listening to this and you don't have a leader who does things like that, then you have to take it upon yourself to be proactive and send your direct report, whoever you're reporting to, some feedback on what you're working on, what your goals are, what you need help with, what you're struggling with, and whatever it is, your accomplishments for the week. And it can be as simple as just a few bullets with a little note saying, no need to respond, just want to share this with you, which, by the way, will go a long way if you have to ever sit down and talk to someone about a raise and wanting to add more value in order to increase your income. And again, it's rare, people will do it, but those are the nuances that I look to for someone who's a high performer. And high performers, they know how to get things done. They know how to do the things that everyone else is not doing. And so I like to share those things because that's what I'd be doing, and I try to do those, and I think everybody should.
You said you think the world is lacking leadership right now.
Yeah.
How much of becoming a leader do you think is a good leader is learning fundamental things about leadership. So you've mentioned a few different things like 7 positive touches to
Right.
1 negative interaction, like things like that,
Right.
versus learning and kind of sinking into who you are and being more genuine and true to yourself. I guess what I'm kind of getting at is, I think a lot of people have this idea of, this big loud leader who can walk in and just dominate a room very easily. He's like very charismatic, but a lot of people aren't like that.
Right.
What do you think about leadership when it comes to people who maybe are more introspective or soft spoken? How do you still become an effective leader when you don't have that maybe
Look,
charismatic personality that we typically associate with leaders?
to me, one of the most attractive things is a silent leader. It's the guy who's in the room and you're wondering what he's thinking and you're not wondering why he's talking. And so there's a stark difference between an outgoing leader who's always first to talk and inspiring and influencing versus the guy who is listening and taking it in. And you could say is just as, if not, much more powerful than the person that you're talking about. And I think right now you can pick up any leadership book and learn the positive ratios and learn lead by example. And it means nothing. It means nothing. You can spit that stuff out, regurgitate it until you're blue in the face, teach courses online about it. People will buy them. But unless you're doing it, and unless you're working on yourself, and unless you know who you are at your core, and you have strong principles, bolted down beliefs, whys behind every single one of them, principles that guide you, strategies that will help keep you within the fences of not going off the rails, and a list of productive actions that are all leading you towards a really big dream in life, which again, we call a magnum opus, then you're not leading. You're not leading. You're a motivational speaker and you're a tactical bullet guy who's going to, give people the intros and ABCs of leadership, but that's not real leadership. Real leadership is actually living it and doing it and struggling through it and falling on your face and then talking about it, sharing that, learning from it, and then applying what you learn so that you can get better. And we call these integrity gaps for strong leaders. And built to lead leaders, what they'll do is they'll get really clear on what they believe. This is their worldview. And the worldview is a very powerful tool that we use in our leadership program because it allows you to be your biggest influence. And today that is so important because I always joke around with people. I say, pull out your phone. What apps are on the first page of your phone? Because those are your biggest influence in your life. And if you think about the science behind that, it's not hard to understand why. We grew up, our parents influenced us, our coaches, our friends, our community, religious leaders, whatever it might be that has been in your life personally, that has been your biggest influence where you've gotten your information. And that at some point got limited and then eventually even stopped when you move out of your house, when you graduate from school. But if you think about what happens on your phone, an average of 4, 6, 8, 10 hours a day now, where you have those first apps beeping and buzzing in your ear, sleeping next to you at night, first thing you check when you wake up in the morning. Whatever apps you have, it could be USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Facebook, Instagram, that's your biggest influence. And we become so numb to it that you have beliefs and you believe and you're brainwashed. We all are in a weird kind of way. So if you're not doing the hard work to determine what you believe and why, oh my gosh, you're not a leader. You're not a strong leader. You're just following other people and you don't even know you're doing it. And I think right now, if you look at any strong leader of any company, any political leader that you admire that's strong, they know what they believe, they know why, and most people hate them because it's not what everyone thinks. And if you know what you believe, you're not going to agree with everybody and you're going to be okay stating why. Whereas if you haven't done the hard work and the due diligence, then you're easily wishy-washy and you'll go with the flow because you don't want to stand out and be going against the crowd. But someone with a strong core who knows what they believe and they know why, they don't mind that because they understand where they're going and they know that they don't want to be like everyone else. And here's what happens. We all get faced with the storms in life. Nobody's immune to it. The storm is coming for everyone. It could be anything from a job loss, divorce, a financial situation, a health issue. The storm is coming and everybody is struggling with something. So the question is, have you done the hard work to be able to stand strong when that storm hits? And the problem is most people start getting busy when the storm hits, and that's too late because you don't all of a sudden put a tree in the middle of the wilderness and a storm come and have it just stand strong. It's got to be in there, rooted in, building over time, and then when that storm hits, it's strong. It can stand. And so everyone has to face reality. And my leadership program, we had close to 100 people in my company, and 20, 30 people maybe would show up. And I used to get really upset about that, but it's not for everyone, and most people won't do it. So you have a real edge in life if you like leadership, professional development, if you have the growth mindset, and if you're willing to work on yourself and look in the mirror and take a hard look at what you believe and why, get clear on that, and then look at where you struggle in life and seeing where there's that cognitive dissonance where you do things that actually like rub against your belief system. And we call those integrity gaps because I believe certain things, but I do a certain thing. And if you can recognize that and then close those gaps, you become such a strong person in life, and people will feel it from you. They just want to be around you. You just have this attractive quality about you because you're growing. And they always say, if you're not growing, you're dying. It's true. Like, in my company, everyone who's growing to be a bigger leader, the people who weren't, they got passed up. And eventually we outgrew them. And it happens in relationships. It happens in teammates. It happens in culture, everywhere. So I'm busy closing my own integrity gaps, and I got a lot of them. So, the question is, are you even aware of them? Do you know what they are? Do you even care? And most people don't. They don't want to. It's hard to look at them. And it takes a lot of drive and will. And you got to build a strong core if you want to be a leader, and if you want to be an entrepreneur, and if you want to be successful on a high performing team, you got to be able to stand through the storm because, again, they're coming. And not easy being a leader.
What are the 4 apps on your phone?
So great question. Let me see. So I have Notion. Notion is my workspace that I work with all my teams. I have my pictures of my family. I've got YouTube because I learn and I'm constantly consuming. And I just launched my own social media kind of strategy, and I haven't done that in 25 years. And I'm a little insecure about it. I'm curious to know what's going to happen. I've got voice memos that I record my notes so that I can play them back later. I have my app, my community app that I'm trying to get people to come into at joinrestart.com. People can come to that and sign in for free. I have Medium, which is where I consume articles written by authors, and I start writing my own blogs and posts. I have music to chill and relax when I need to kind of wind down. And I've got Amazon because I buy everything on Amazon. And I have LinkedIn because I have a lot of networking I do on LinkedIn, and I have WhatsApp because I have friends in Israel and they all use WhatsApp. So I'm constantly communicating with my friends. So I've stayed away from a lot of the general news and garbage, and I try not to watch too much TV. And I really try to spend my time either with my family, with my opus at work, or my wife, and try to really gotta put my priorities straight with my spiritual life as well.